would like to welcome you back on my summer series about photographing badgers. I already told you a lot about my summer, and in the first episode I told you about the setting, the badger den. In the second episode I talked about what the badgers are up to, how many animals are living there, and everything about that they disappeared, that they come back, how the activity looked like. June turns into July, the activity is still low, and we plan to go on holiday in the end of July, so I feel like my time with the long days is running out. And shortly, 1 week before we are supposed to go on holiday, the badgers are back. First of all, that's such a great relief. It's nearly a month since I really saw them at the den. I saw that they are in the area, sometimes coming around, but they were never in front of the entrances. I checked both, and suddenly I see more activity again, and the badgers are just there. Now you have to understand that badgers in spring and in summer just go around and clean up their other dens. That's totally normal. I didn't know so much about that, but that's just what they do. And if you understand that, you just have to be patient, or you have to look around if you find some of their other dens and hides where they live and what they're cleaning up. So I didn't see them before we went on holiday, and I wasn't sure how it would be when we come back from holiday. The days are even shorter now, it starts to get faster and faster, right? And I come back and I see that the second entrance that needed some work is completely cleaned up. It's a bigger hole again, and I have really hopes they are active. They're gonna stay here. It looks like they're getting ready for fall and winter to stay at that den, which is just beautiful for me. The problem is, we come back from holiday and 1 day later, it's kind of lucky, our car stops working. So I have to focus all my work on the badgers, because that's the only place I can really get quickly to. Quickly, it takes around an hour with a bus. At 10 o'clock in the evening, my bus back goes home, and that's kind of really close to sunset and the right light. And I spent every single evening that I could get free on that. I must admit, I get a bit bored when I'm sitting there every day and not really getting to see anything. And I start to get interested in the other animals that are there. There are roe deer, foxes, house cats are coming through, which have an influence on what is happening there. But I think, like, if I lay out some bird food, maybe I just see some birds in between. Some squirrels actually came around in the later days, but I never got a really good chance to photograph them. And they immediately always saw me. I'm wearing camouflage, not because really of the badgers, for the roe deer and the other animals, but also because the camouflage makes my clothing not make noise anymore. So I thought, like, yeah, this is not working so well. I had one really close encounter while I was waiting for the badgers. I came into the place and a roe deer just ran into my face nearly, like 4 meters distance. I was just standing still. I had half my camouflage on, and it was really confusing wind at that day. So the roe deer didn't see me. That was the first day I realized how powerful 3D camouflage really is. And the Roe Deer went its way, I went into position. I sat down there, and the Roe Deer came back. And I don't have many recordings because I used this lens, and I couldn't zoom out fast enough because the Roe Deer comes from the side. I take one photo. It's not the greatest photo, but it's a good example of a photo I want to take. Animals in their prime habitat. I don't want to shoot Roe Deer or a badger in the open on a field. I want to shoot them in their refuge, in the forest, in the natural environment, what we have to protect. And that Roe Deer, after I take that one single photo, is coming right up to me. The wind is standing in my face really strong. And the Roe Deer just passes in front of the lens, like I could have stretched my arm out and touched it. I heard it breathing. I don't remember if I had any time such an intense wildlife moment in my life. And I had it on Instagram on stories, how I'm still shaking, how I can't believe that that just happened. It just came in really fast and passed me by. Passed by right here, 1 meter behind me. And now they're sitting actually up there, like 10 meters away. But I can only see them through the trees. So there's always something happening with the Roe Deer in that small isolated forest island in the fields. And that was just the next sub-project I developed in that location. Don't be picky, try to get what is there. And today I finally want to get to how I photographed badgers, mostly nocturnal animals, in really good light conditions. And I hope you're gonna like that material, because that's my whole reward for the summer season. I'm so happy with it. And it is August, the days are shortening. It's one of my favorite times of the year because the summer heat has gone, and it's just that the air is fresh and reviving. You know that something is about to happen, a lot of stuff are happening, and soon a different time will come into the lands. There's something that you always have to keep in mind while you sit there and you photograph animals that are smelling really good, but mostly with all animals. Sit downwind. I had two settings because here we have mostly wind from the west or wind from the east. In the morning I saw I don't have good light. I sometimes tried it in the morning, but I just didn't have the good light conditions. In the evening I often sat on the east side of the den because often it's west wind coming into here in southern Norway. But best I thought is also when it's coming from the east. I can sit on the west side there. I have like a bump and a root where I can sit behind. I had my settings for different wind directions, and mostly they were okay both with north and south wind. But you always have to keep that in mind, and then you switch around. It's just good that you have these places prepared and that you clean up the waste so that you come easily in really quietly. That's one thing I decided 3D camera gear instead of setting up a tent or a hide, because in a tent or a hide you always have to make noise to get out of the situation, to leave the place. And if you have just camo gear on, you just pack your stuff quietly and you leave whenever the light is gone or when the animals have retreated to some other place, so that you have a perfect excuse to leave. Another thing while I waited there is that I realized there are many cats coming from where people live. It's not too far away that there are houses, and cats came in. I sometimes saw them on my evenings when I sat out there, that they came around. I saw them on my wildlife cameras, at least 3 to 4 different cats that were just coming there. And I always observed afterwards on the wildlife cameras, or when I was there myself, I never saw badgers on those days. They came out way later on the wildlife cameras. So there's definitely an interruption influence. You don't know if the adult badger would really mind so much, but there was of course a cub, and that has an influence on the decision making if they come out. Observing there for half a year, there were only a few opportunities, I think like 2 or 3, when I saw them in front of the den in good evening light. The first one got me really kicked off to start now. The second time, I was there. And now I have to say, I think I was really lucky, because you rarely get badgers in these good light conditions. And of course I was lucky, but I also put the time in. I was nearly there every evening, and I didn't have a car. I had to somehow arrange it with my job. You know, you really have to put the time in, and then you get paid. When you get paid so much. So lucky, yes, but also endurance and putting the time in. Really important. I told myself that evening that it's not gonna happen again. And I'm just lying behind that hill where I look over the route to one of the badger openings, the bigger one, and suddenly I see movement and there's a badger. I just like, my heart is pounding with excitement. I just have to keep it down. The badger is smelling at my wildlife camera and is a bit scared and is just moving along, and I miss a shot of the badger face looking around the tree. That's what I wanted. That was one of the photos I wanted, but I missed it because I was just too excited. And at the point I just had to calm myself down and to concentrate so that I don't miss any more of all of this. And it's just so difficult because I saw that they're active at the other entrance and I can see both entrances, but my position is only good for one. And I see that they change between the entrances. I see from that position I couldn't photograph, like you see on this photo, so good the lower entrance. So while they were gone inside for a second, I took my camera off the tripod and I went a bit around so that I get on the same level on that entrance to shoot some photos while they're down there. When I moved then, I kind of pushed my luck quite a bit. But badgers are really blind, and if you're really quiet and you take the times where they're not right there, then you have a good chance. But you have to be really careful because you don't want to scare them for other occasions, right? I think I got, again, really lucky. I loved those shots. And after some time, after a while playing and yeah, just rambling all over the place, they settle for the second entrance, bigger entrance where I sat first. I slowly and quietly come back and I sit down and I can observe them for, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes while they're cleaning themselves, while the young wants to play with the mother, and basically just doing better things. It's just one of the best moments, best things I ever had in my whole life anyhow. And I sit there and I use time wisely. I mean, I'm trying to be quiet. They don't really look in my direction at all. The wind is coming into my direction from east. Everything's just perfect. The only thing that I have to think about is that I have to take the bus back home. And now that's one mistake I think that I will never do again. I should have walked rather home that evening, spending I don't know how long time getting home, and taking 5-10 more minutes material instead of leaving quietly packing my stuff. I really regret that. I just had the feeling that I could have seen them another time, but it's so hard if you think how lucky you have to be to meet them on those few evenings when they're actually out in sunlight. So I will never do that again. But hopefully I will never have a broken car at that time again either. I had one more meeting with the badgers on short notice. While looking after the Roe Deer, I spent the last 10 minutes of the evening at the den and saw this animal. It seems if you are quiet enough and the wind is in the right direction, it doesn't really matter when you arrive on location. Now, as the days get shorter, I could always see that the geese are leaving, assembling in the evening and leaving. I was documenting that to a tiny amount. And basically that was my encounter with the badgers, and it was so fast over as it has come. It was in August. I should have tried it last year already in August. And it went over so fast and summer had gone so fast suddenly that I decided now it's time for other projects. And maybe over the next seasons I could try something with LED lights or something like that. Maybe even photo trapping, I don't know. I want to film animals. So photo trapping just with flashes is not completely my thing. But I will try to follow this badger family around, because I just want to see what happens next year. Badgers stay in their dens for many generations. So there's a good chance of seeing them again next year and maybe getting even better shots if that's even possible. There was one important last observation I made when checking the cameras in the end of August. It gave me even more hope for the coming years. I always wondered where Papa Badger was, and there finally 3 badgers appeared on the cameras. I'm especially proud of this single photo that I took in front of the lower badger den entrance when I moved over there, because it's like it's the badger cub in really pretty light. The eye is sharp. This is the payoff and the single most reason I should do wildlife photography. It's just a beautiful photo. I'm really proud of myself for once. And it's hard to say. I thank you so much for joining on this journey with the badgers. These few episodes just showing you how my process was, how I finally got there, what I'm proud of, how the badgers behave. And you can tell me in the comments if you think my summer was well spent, because I think it was really well spent. Even though it was just one occasion with the target animal. But I think I have better chances for next year, of course. I thank you so much for watching, and I see you soon on another obsessive project of mine. Thanks for watching.